Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Double Play. It's September. We're getting close to October baseball. It is so exciting. But today, you know the drill by now. If you've been following us, we're giving out our August awards today. National League and American League Player of the Month, Pitcher of the Month, Rookie of the Month, and Surprise. But Jack, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I love September. Obviously, my birthday's in September, so it's just a fun month, and it also means college football is right around the corner. We've had a couple games, but in a couple days, we're recording this on Thursday. It should be coming out Friday. There's a bunch of games on Friday. Both of our teams play on Saturday, and I'm so excited. USC, the first game, the Lincoln Riley era, going to be taking on Rice at the Coliseum. I'm doing pregame, halftime, postgame show. I get to be in the press box, which is good because it's going to be 103 degrees in Los Angeles. It'll probably be even hotter at the stadium, but I have to be in a suit, so at least I'm in the press box, away from the heat. I'll have a good view of all the students just dying with 105 degrees and maybe a little dehydrated from pregame activities.
Are you going to be able to watch much of the game, or like how's that going to work?
Yeah, so since I'm not calling the game this year, I still get to watch it. So I do my pregame show. I'm in the booth, so we watch the game, and I'll be taking notes about like what I'm going to talk about at halftime, then do the halftime show, and then watch the second half, and then write notes about what I'm going to talk about for post game. So I think next year and the year after, once some of the more senior members of the KXSC is what it's called, our like radio station club, once they graduate, I'll get the chance to like actually be doing play-by-play. So I'll get to watch it the whole time. This time, I think it'll be a little bit more fun. I'm doing that for half the home games, so the other ones I'm planning on being able to be just in the student section. So I get to watch all the games, which will still be fun.
It sounds like a lot of fun. TCU's on the road this week. They actually play a Friday night game against Boulder. They're favored by 10, so, a lot of smack. We also have a new head coach, Sonny Dykes, new era. So, excited for the era. Not sure how this season's going to go, but excited nonetheless that college football is back.
TCU has some good prospects. Of course, this isn't a college football podcast, but TCU's got some good guys on the roster, draft prospects for sure. You got to talk about that Kid Leroy concert, because I know you were supposed to go last year and I wasn't able to make it out, and I'm jealous because it looks so fun.
Yeah, the concert was supposed to be back in February, but COVID was rampant in DFW around then, so it got pushed back to last week. But it was a lot of fun. So it was a long time coming. I was excited. I've had these tickets for 10 months now, and so I was really excited to finally be able to go. Put on a great show. If you enjoy him and are thinking about going to concert, I recommend it. It was a lot of fun, but it was a great weekend last weekend.
Another thing, music-wise, actually, too. Did you see the Edwin Diaz entrance yesterday where Timmy Trumpet was actually there playing the trumpet live in person?
Once I saw that, it was over for the Dodgers. It was 2-1. Like I think it's like, I think it's a law. Or it should be a law that after something that cool happens, you can't be allowed to give up a run. And Diaz was not going to give up a run, but that was one of the coolest things ever. Just seeing him live perform that was awesome.
I don't know why more like teams don't do that. I guess it's like sometimes hard if you can't just get Metallica to like come out and perform or stuff like that, but I don't know, it was really cool. I hope that we see more of those kind of things happen, but we've talked about since the start, when like the first time Edwin Diaz did it and everyone liked it, to now I feel like this is kind of the culmination. We'll see if it happens in the playoffs or the World Series, but it feels like we've been here for the ride, and it was a good payoff moment to have Timmy there performing Narco while Edwin Diaz came in. It was so electric.
Yeah, bring us back to our road trip where we were bumping that in the car late night. Needed to wake up, so we
so
everything.
My parents listened to that episode and they're like, I thought we told you and Ryan to like be safe, like don't fall asleep on the road. I thought you said that like Ryan was like fine. I'm like, he was exaggerating for the podcast, and they were like, I don't know, you guys should have maybe just stayed the night. So
I was fine because of Timmy Trumpet. He made me fine.
Well, Mom, Dad, if you're listening, look at that. Proof that he was fine. I told you. Let's get into what we've got going on for today. We're going to give out our August awards, and then at the end, we got a couple fun segments. We're going to do a top 5, which we'll explain a little bit later, and then we've both prepared questions for each other that we don't know about. Just some fun, light, just fun stuff to end the episode off after going through the big chunk of the awards. So stay tuned for those. Those are going to be really fun. But let's get into the August awards. July was a great month. We've got pretty much all new winners in August. Do you want to start it off with National League Player of the Month?
Let's get into it. And, it's got to be Nolan Arenado. He barely beats out his teammate, Paul Goldschmidt. But I think Paul Goldschmidt will end up having the last laugh. We not talk about that now, but Nolan Arenado this month hit 366, 414 on base, 713 slugging, 211 WRC plus, 8 bombs in the month, 2.2 WAR. Goldie put up similar numbers at the plate, but the WAR because of Nato's defense, and Nato's defense will always be superior at third. Both had great months, but Arenado is the National League Player of the Month for me.
Yeah, for National League Player of the Month, I also have Nolan Arenado. Almost went Paul Goldschmidt, but Nolan Arenado absolutely deserved it. Hit 366, a 414 on base, 713 slug is insane. It puts him over, not over 1,000 OPS, but over an 1,100 OPS. Hit a 211 WRC plus, 8 home runs, 27 RBIs, and a 2.2 WAR. Goldie and him hit just about the same this month, but Nolan's defense, there's the highlight plays, and there's also just, it contributes to how valuable he is on the field. Goldie is, snuck over Nolan already once this year. This time Nolan gets the last laugh, or I guess the second laugh, and he's my Player of the Month for August.
Yeah, and then get into the American League Player of the Month. It's another third baseman who, looking at these stat lines, they're almost identical. It's Alex Bregman in the Houston Astros. 110 plate appearances versus 111 from Arenado, but he hit 367, 455, and 700 slug, 7 bombs, a 222 WRC plus, and a 2 WAR on the month. So these two third basemen, they put on a show for the entire month of August, and it's just ridiculous. Alex Bregman was the best player this month for the best team this season in the American League in the Houston Astros. He put up a great month, and he deserved this AL Player of the Month.
It's like third base. I don't know if we think we have to talk about this. Third base is, I think, the best position right now in Major League Baseball. For the last couple of years, it's been right field when you had Judge playing in right. You've got Mookie out there. Acuna, Soto is now a right fielder, but Acuna having slightly a down year. Judge is more of a center fielder now. And just listen to all these third basemen who we've had win this award before. We've got Nolan and Bregman. I've got Bregman too, obviously. Nolan and Bregman this month. And we've had Austin Riley win it. We've had Rafael Devers win it. I think we've had Jose Ramirez win it as well, and Manny Machado. And that's 6 different third basemen to win a Player of the Month so far this year. If not, they were second. I don't quite remember, but how are you going to make an All-MLB team when you've got to pick between those 6? It's just insane. And each of them has had a time where okay, you're the best player in the league. I think it was Jose Ramirez early on, then it was Devers, then it was Riley for a month, or it was Machado early on too, and now you've got Bregman and Arenado, who were these are the 2 best players in baseball in this month. It's just, the third base position has been crazy. I remember, so we've got the Team of the Month out on Instagram and Twitter, if you can go check that out. Social links down in the description. It was so hard to pick between these 2 players of the month for just being the third baseman on our Team of the Month. We ended up giving the nod to Nolan because of the defense, but I think you're right. It's shocking how close they are hitting-wise, and they both just had unreal months.
And you mentioned all the third basemen. People try and rank their top 5, top 10 third basemen, whatever, and it's just it's so hard to rank because, like you said, at any point in time, any of these guys are the best. And so, over the course of it, it's just impossible to rank. But, you got to give props to what these third basemen are doing, and it's a great time to watch because, as a baseball fan, 6 guys that can all be the best player in the league at one position, it's ridiculous to watch. And it is kind of interesting, though, at third base. You get to those 6, and then there's kind of a drop-off. Those 6 are elite, top whatever players in the league, and then there's a little bit of a drop-off. But, these guys are so fun to watch. And, yeah, you mentioned having to pick for a position. We did that Team of the Month, like you said. I posted on TikTok as well, another plug. But someone said, "Where is Bregman?" It's he was probably the second best player in the whole month, but he doesn't make our Team of the Month just because the one player that was better plays the same position as him. So it'll be even harder when we have to do the All-MLB team. See who's been the best over the course of the season, but it's fun to watch.
I feel like right now Nolan has had the most consistent season out of all of them. Austin Riley had that super hot stretch. Devers is still fantastic, but Nolan with the glove and the bat has been, I think, the most consistent throughout the season. But it's just crazy. What a fantastic position. We're so blessed to have so many elite third basemen in baseball. For National League Rookie of the Month, I went with Michael Harris. I think he repeats. He was the same last month. Or no, maybe I think I had him last month. Maybe you had Spencer Strider. But anyways, I have him for Rookie of the Month this month. And it seems like it's always one of the Braves. It's just going to be him for me this month. 102 plate appearances. He hit .333. He had a .581 slug, 168 WRC plus, a 1.6 WAR. He continues to be maybe the best defensive center fielder in the league. I think it was that defense and then the 168 WRC plus, great hitting stats, and 5 stolen bases that vaults him over some of the other contenders. I don't know if you have the same pick or not, but I wanted to give shouts out to Joey Meneses. I've never heard his name pronounced, but from Washington, had a fantastic month, and Spencer Strider and Edward Cabrera, 2 pitchers that I think deserve consideration as well, but for me, it's Michael Harris.
I also have Michael Harris for the National League Rookie of the Month. You said all those stats. He's hitting above 300 with a 168 WRC plus. And then the defense as well. It's hard to go against this guy, and he's continuing his Rookie of the Year campaign. Got called up a little later. I don't believe he was on the opening day roster for the Braves, but he is continuing his Rookie of the Year campaign. Seems like the biggest competition right now is his teammate who you mentioned, Spencer Strider. So those teams. Talk about that entire rookie class for the Braves. Michael Harris, Spencer Strider, and what's his name?
Vaughn Grissom, the guy they just called up, is now maybe better than both of them so far this year.
That rookie class is ridiculous. Maybe one of the best all time. I just pulled that out of thin air. I don't know the history of best rookie classes.
I was researching it the other day, and there was I don't remember the exact year. Maybe it was like early 2000s. There was a Marlins class that they were the only one that was comparable with, they had 3 guys, including one of the ones, I think they finished 1 and 2 in Rookie of the Year, and they had someone else. But I went and compared stats, and it's I think it was a shortstop. I'll find it when you're talking about who your American League is, but they had a shortstop who had who won the award and had a WRC plus in the 130s. It's okay, so he's not hitting better than Michael Harris is hitting so far. They had a pitcher who is not pitching as well as Spencer Strider is so far. And I was I think this might legitimately be the best rookie class of all time. Some teams have the Aaron Judges or the Pete Alonsos that come on to have crazy rookie years, but this is 3 guys deep. They might end up finishing 1, 2, 3. We'll see how Grissom continues to play, but it's going to be 1 and 2, either Harris or Strider. If I'm MLB, I'm naming them co-Rookie of the Years because they have just both been fantastic. And the crazy thing with Harris, he's doing it from the 9 hole. He scored 22 runs last month and hitting 9 in the order. That's just wild.
Yeah, he's probably been one of the best 9-hole hitters in the whole league. Another guy who's making his Rookie of the Year campaign, another guy who got called up a little later, Adley Rutschman. He is 100% as advertised as the number 1 prospect. He's definitely a top 3 catcher in baseball already this year. There's an argument for top 1, but this month he was 4th in the American League in WAR, 112 plate appearances, hit .270, .402, .461, with a 150 WRC plus at the catching position, and he's already probably a top 5 defensive catcher in the league as well. So like I said, he's as advertised. He's pushing J-Rod, who was hurt for a little bit. He's back now. He hit another bomb today or yesterday, I think it was. But Adley Rutschman, J-Rod, it's another exciting Rookie of the Year finish. We've got 2 really good Rookie of the Year finishes from guys, Michael Harris and Spencer Strider, seeming like they came out of nowhere. And then we also have the Adley Rutschman and Julio Rodriguez, who were these guys are the guys to watch for at the beginning of the year. So we're blessed. We talked about we're blessed at third base. We're blessed with all this young talent, all these guys signing extensions. They're going to be around for a long time. Adley, he's my next big extension candidate.
Oh, I think it's coming for sure. So I went back and I found it. It was the 2006 Florida Marlins class. They had Hanley Ramirez, the shortstop whose name was escaping me. He won Rookie of the Year. They had 3 of the top 4 vote getters. The other 2 were second baseman Dan Ugla and right-handed pitcher Josh Johnson. But I went and looked at the stats. It can be a debate. I know it's going to be tough for people to accept that this could be the best class of all time, but from what I could see doing my research so far, this the Braves rookie class might be the best that we've ever had. Going back to who you said, Adley Rutschman, also my pick for American League Rookie of the Month. He just beat out George Kirby for me, who I've saved a little spot for him later in the episode, but fourth in the AL in WAR for the entire month. He had 270. He had a 150 WRC plus. He's just been a fantastic spark plug. And I don't think there's a single rookie in the league that's been more of a leader and more of a catalyst for their team than Adley Rutschman has been in Baltimore. They're 2 games out of a wild card spot. In September, a team that we thought was going to lose 100 games is in the wild card conversation, a big part due to Adley Rutschman.
That's one thing I hope so much, that the Orioles make the playoffs. And imagine, I don't know how the seeding would have to line up. The Orioles would probably have to jump a couple spots. But imagine an Orioles-Mariners playoff series where, I mean, Mariners haven't been in 20 years. Orioles, you thought they had no business being here. I don't know if it'd be fun to watch, but it would be like, oh my gosh, like, how are these teams here? So that would be great. And one thing that I wanted to give back to the Marlins rookie class, something that just popped in my head. Dan Uggla, do you remember his little stint with the Giants?
No, not like off the top of my memory. Like, I know he was on the Giants, but I don't remember.
So I don't remember. It was one of their World Series years. It was 2012 or 2014. He was on the Giants for a week. Mm-hmm. He went like 0 for 15 or something, and then they DFA'd him. Won the World Series. He got a ring. So yep. I mean, that just popped into my head out of his stretch where they signed him. He went 0 for whatever in less than like 5 games, and then got DFA'd and got a ring.
There's a couple funny stories in the MLB right now about that. You had Terrence Gore, who was signed to I forget which team it was.
The Mets.
The Mets signed Terrence Gore to the MLB squad. So he's had 15 MLB at bats all time, or no, 15 hits in his entire career. And he's got 3 World Series rings just because they put him on the postseason roster. They bring him up so he can steal like a base in the entire playoffs, and he gets a ring. And then also Joey Gallo. Do you see Joey Gallo's comments recently?
No, I did not.
Someone asked like, "Oh, what would it mean to you to have a Dodgers-Yankees World Series?" He's like, "Either way, I get a ring." So I was like, that's just funny to think about. I love how that works out in professional sports sometimes when you just like you have the ability where no matter which way a series goes, you get a ring, or you're someone like Terrence Gore who somehow has 3 rings despite being like not a good baseball player ever.
He's just fast, and that works out for him.
I think we just have to work on our speed, like from now till we're like 25. Do nothing but like sprints, get really, really, really fast, and then just go out there and try and get onto a postseason roster somewhere. Hope to end up with a ring.
Yeah, maybe I'll be the next Terrence Gore. I'll improve my 8-second 60 or whatever I have.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, shout out to Adley Rutschman. He's, I think, the clear pick for Rookie of the Month. And then also, I don't know, I'm starting to think that he might come from behind to steal Rookie of the Year from Julio Rodriguez. And also, if it was a Mariners-Orioles playoff series, you got the 2 best rookies in the American League going right at each other. So I think that would be pretty awesome. Let's move on. For National League Pitcher of the Month, I'm going with Zach Gallen, who's edging out Jacob deGrom for me because Gallen was disgusting this month. 40 innings pitched, second most in the National League, a .68 ERA, 5-0 with a 1.7 WAR, which was number 1 in the National League. He gave up 3 earned runs in his first start of the month and then rattled off 5 straight scoreless games. Zach Gallen, National League Pitcher of the Month.
It's crazy. I also have Zach Gallen, but it's crazy. I think we had Merrill Kelly here last month.
Yep.
But between him, I think Zach Gallen or Merrill Kelly had another good month earlier than year, and it's crazy that that they're really good. They're pretty good pitchers. Like at the end of the day, and a solid 1-2 punch. I'm not gonna over exaggerate and say it's like an elite 1-2 punch for the D-backs, but they've shown stretches where they're elite. And I was just looking at this today. You know, in terms of tiebreaker, they have jumped the Giants, or the D-backs are now the third best team, the third best team in the NL West. So they've got the
same record, and the Diamondbacks have the tiebreaker. The Giants were like 17-2 against the Diamondbacks last year, and this year just have not been very good against them. Obviously, I mean the Giants have given up at this point. It's very clear they're on a 7-game losing streak, but it's not about the Giants. Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, maybe like in the 4-5 range for 1-2 punches. I mean, just thinking off the top of my head, DeGrom and Scherzer, you have Burns and Woodruff, Webb and Rodon, I'm trying to think if there's anywhere else that I would go before going. I mean, Alcantara Lopez probably at this point.
I feel like there's guys that are like a super elite 1 with a solid 2 that would.
Yeah, like are you taking Garrett Cole and whoever the Yankees pencil in as the 2?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, because on most teams, I would say Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly are probably low end 1s or high end 2s. So yeah. I mean, but they've shown flashes. They've been great. I mean, Merrill Kelly, we've talked about him before. I think he was in the Korean League a few years ago, so he's turned it around. Just great stories that they're pitchers of the month, and shout out Zach Gallen.
Yeah, and to beat out Jacob deGrom for it too, that's pretty legit. They both started yesterday, and Gallen just earned it. 40 innings pitched, like we mentioned, in a month is just a crazy high number. He had 6 starts to do it, but when you go your last 5 starts and you don't allow a run, I think that you just earned pitcher of the month right there. American League Pitcher of the Month, I'm going with Shane Bieber. This was a close one as well. I really wanted to go Drew Rasmussen from the Rays. He almost had that perfect game and had a really good rest of the month, but Shane Bieber just deserved it. 33 1/3 innings pitched. He was 3-1, a 1.62 ERA, a 1.3 WAR. He also had 1 less start than Rasmussen. I think pitched like only 1 less inning and still had more WAR than Drew. So I had to go with Shane Bieber. Good to see that he's back on the top of the mountain after people were starting to doubt him to start the year.
So, written down, I have Shane Bieber, but I'm going to audible here. I'm picking Rasmussen here. Just because, I mean, I just want to, I want to like shout him out. So I don't have a stat line here. I've got Bieber's written down, but I wrote out that, you know, it was legitimately a toss up. Like just because I had to choose, I went Bieber, and it was because of the WAR, and I think it was 1 more inning pitched or something like that. So, I mean, other than that, they were like identical in ERA and FIP and pretty much everything else in the month. So, I'm going to audible here. I'm going Drew Rasmussen. I do not have any of his stats for the month, but he pitched great. You mentioned that perfecto bid, which I was so confident about that because he was so efficient in that start. But he had a great month as well. And shout out Drew Rasmussen. Also, shout out Shane Bieber because I originally had him on here, but he's not getting my award.
I think when you have an almost perfect game, like when you have that 1 start to anchor the month, like you can have maybe his stats cumulative. What are you dying on your nice water cup?
All right, we're back.
If you guys weren't watching that on YouTube, you have to go check that out. That was so funny. Well, Ryan's got this cup that it's white, and when you pour something cold into it, it turns purple for TCU, and it just tried to kill him, I guess. But what I was saying was, when you're like Drew Rasmussen, you have that 1 start to really anchor down your month, the almost perfect game. I could understand going with him over Bieber, even if his stats aren't cumulatively better than Shane Bieber. But I'm still going to stick with Shane. But I think it's good that, at least Drew gets a pitcher of the month from you. Justin Verlander, again, would have won this award if not for injury. It's been unfortunate. We've seen some American League pitchers go down with injuries recently. You had Justin Verlander, Shane McClanahan. It looks bad. Like, he might be out for the rest of the year. He's got apparently a shoulder impingement. He was seen crying in the bullpen. It's not good right now for the American League Cy Young race. But I'm going with Shane Bieber. Who's your surprise of the month in either the National League or the American League?
I'll start with the National League. It was Max Muncy, who has been absolutely atrocious for the first 4 months or whatever of the season. But it seems like he's found his swing. He's maybe getting fully healthy and getting his confidence back. But in the month, /270, 362 with a 573 slugging. Had 7 home runs, a 1.1 WAR with 157 WRC+. So Max Muncy looking like the old Max Muncy, who we have not seen since last season. I mean, he was doing really well at first base for the Dodgers for all of last year, and then he goes down with that elbow injury in the final series of the year, misses the playoffs, comes back, loses his first baseman job to Freddie Freeman, kind of has to bounce around between DH, second, third, and then also getting healthy, finding his confidence again. It seems like he's got it back. He's finally looking like the Max Muncy we've seen in the last few years, and it was surprising.
Yeah, I'm going to cheat with my National League Surprise Month. I'm going with 2 players. They're on the same team, though, so I think it's okay. I'm going to start with Jordan Montgomery, who's been just absolutely insane since being dealt from the Yankees to the Cardinals. 30 and 2/3 innings pitched, a 1.76 ERA, one of the best pitchers in the National League since the trade deadline and in the month of August. He's been very surprising to me because he's like turned into an elite pitcher after the Yankees traded him away, kind of like how Joey Gallo has been a better hitter since leaving the Yankees, but it's neither here nor there. And also Albert Pujols. I mean, I mentioned in our last episode, shout out to Old Man. Albert, almost, I think, 69 plate appearances, 22 hits, 8 home runs. 8 home runs in under 70 plate appearances, a 236 WRC plus. He wasn't a qualified hitter, but if he was, he would have the top WRC plus in the entire league in the month. I mean, he's on the quest to 700. Shout out to Albert. 8 home runs in under 70 plate appearances is just wild.
Yeah, I think all of us are Albert Pujols fans right now, hoping he gets to 700. I saw this funny video. I think it was yesterday, but it was, you know, that video of DK Metcalf running down, I think was it Buda Baker after that interception? It was Zach Campbell on DK Metcalf's face, and said Zach Campbell running down the kid who caught Albert Pujols' 700th home run. So I'm just hoping he gets to 700 home runs. It would be awesome to see.
If he gets to like 699,
I've just got a feeling that's going to happen.
But does he actually retire?
I think so. He had his tour. I mean, he's getting his flowers now, and I think he will. I mean, I don't think he would come back for like 10 games, hit a bomb, and say I'm out. Like I think he's gonna ride off into the sunset, even if he just misses it.
Well, hopefully the Cardinals hold on, make the playoffs, and it gives him a couple more games to try and set that record and get to 700. That would be huge. But let's switch over to the American League. It was tough because I always want to pick like 3 or 4 players for Surprise of the Month. I had to go with one. I spoiled a little bit earlier saying that George Kirby had a spot later in the episode. I think he's my American League Surprise of the Month. We saw him come up as a rookie, a high-touted prospect, but just didn't pitch all that well at the start, didn't have very much command, wasn't fantastic, but he was almost my American League Rookie of the Month, and he was just fantastic. 29 1/3 innings pitched, a 2.15 ERA, 10.43 Ks per 9, and a 1.4 WAR. He was in consideration as well for me for just pitcher of the month in general. I really liked what I saw from George Kirby this month, and he could be a real piece for the Mariners down the line, and they've already got Castillo, Robbie Ray, Logan Gilbert. So if one of Kirby or Matt Brash hits, and right now it looks like it's going to be Kirby, that would just be huge for them.
Yeah, out of the AL, I had Nathaniel Lau, another AL West team here for the Rangers, who was up there if Bregman didn't have the month he had. He was up there for a player of the month. He had a 204 WRC plus /377, 431, 632. Had 7 bombs. Seems like there's a lot of good signs coming out of the Rangers right now. Seager has hit a career high on home runs, 30 bombs. Semien, who had an atrocious start, he's found it a little bit. He's done underratedly good over the course of this season. Nathaniel Lau, who had a great month, earns my surprise of the month. And, with Jack Leiter probably coming up next year, Kumar Rocker soon, maybe there's something to look forward to for the Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, John Gray's pitched well when he's been healthy. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from the outfield, too. Leody Taveras and Adolis Garcia are playing well. I like what I'm seeing out of Texas right now. If I was cheating, Nathaniel Lau I have written down as one of my potential surprises of the month. Also, Sean Murphy, I feel like deserves a shout-out. He's the catcher on our team of the month. He was easily the best catcher in baseball, and he's always been a defensive catcher, but he hit the cover off the ball in August. So both of those guys absolutely deserve a shout-out.
All right, so that is our awards of the month. If you want to see our team of the month and award posts, just go to any of our socials. I believe it's on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram already, so you know the deal. I mean, if you've watched us at all, you know we plug the socials. But let's get into our top 5. Today, we're going to be doing top 5 World Series contenders. We're gonna have some future top 5s where this is more of a fun ranking, but I mean, going into September, top 5 World Series contender, it's something that we got to look at. And Jack, do you want to give? Let's go 5-1. Jack, who is your 5th team?
All right, are we going to alternate, or am I giving you all 5 of mine?
Let's alternate.
All right, alternate. At 5, I've got the New York Yankees. They were 1 for a lot of the season. They started to play not all that well, and I'm a little concerned about the Yankees, but still, the American League is a little bit weak at the top. I think that them and the other American League team I have on this list are the 2 main contenders, but I've got the Yankees at 5.
Yeah, I also have the Yankees at 5. And one thing I forgot to mention, I also wrote an article on this, so if you want to see my little write-up on each team, it's on our website, which I don't... Is this linked in our description?
It should be, and if it's not, I will put it in there.
And if it's not there, go to our socials. It's in our link tree. One of the first things there. So yes, I've got the Yankees at 5. I mean, you mentioned they've just disappointed a little bit. They were the best team in the league for so long, and then I think they split a 4-game set with the A's, and they just lost a 3-game series against the Angels. So the Yankees, there's cause for concern there, but I mean, obviously behind Aaron Judge, and they still have a good pitching staff, and offense is streaky, but they're still a threat to win the World Series. And I think the biggest thing for me for the Yankees is Game 2 of any series, and that was kind of their concern as well going into the trade deadline. They're like, we need to get another. That's why they wanted Frankie Montas or Luis Castillo to be that Game 2 starter. They get Frankie Montas, but he has not been good since joining the Yankees. So, I mean, you got Garrett Cole who can go toe-to-toe with any ace in the league, but if you drop that one, say against a Verlander, and Verlander outpitches Cole, or it's kind of just a toss-up there, and you drop Game 1, you need someone to bounce back Game 2 because you don't want to fall 0-2, and then the back end of the rotation can compete and give you some games, but you don't want to fall down 0-2 in a series. So I think Game 2 starting pitching is going to be the biggest thing for the Yankees in the series, but I still think they're threats to win the World Series.
I'm going to go across New York for my number 4 team. I've got the Mets in 4th place. They're just compared to the top 3 teams. I think that they're not as star-studded, as top-heavy as some of these other teams. They're a great baseball team, don't get me wrong, but I feel less confident in their offense going into a 7-game playoff series because, I mean, you've had guys like Spencer Strider come out and say the Mets sometimes just get lucky. I'm not going to go as far as to say that the Mets are a lucky offense, but I'm a little bit concerned about how their offense might play in the playoffs. Again, big fan of the Mets this year. They've been a fantastic baseball team, but I've got them as number 4.
I've got the Braves at number 4, the other NL East team here. It is close between the Mets and Braves, and I think that I'll get to the reason why I had the Mets edging out the Braves. But for the Braves, I mean, they're obviously a huge threat. I think it's just going to be very tough to repeat. Hasn't been a repeat champion since the turn of the century, the Yankees who three-peated. And, I mean, the Braves, I mean, you know the lineup. I mean, Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna, who is playing hurt, it seems like. He just reported today he tweaked up his knee the other day again. So we'll see how he can hold up over the stretch. But obviously, Austin Riley, and we talked about the rookies, Spencer Strider, Michael Harris, Grissom? Is that what? Grissom. I mean, those are just, I mean, they're going to be huge pieces for them. And, I mean, yeah, the Braves, and then the rotation. I mean, you have Max Fried, Spencer Strider, Charlie Morton, who's proved to be great in the playoffs, Kyle Wright, who's putting up a great year, and, oh, by the way, they have Mike Soroka coming back. Any date now. I think he's doing one more rehab start, then he's coming back, and, I mean, yeah, he's pitching for the first time in 2 years, basically, but his only healthy season is rookie year in 2019. He was the 6th Cy Young vote getter, so, and, I mean, he's got nasty stuff. I don't know if you've seen any rehab starts from Pitching Ninja, those posts, but, I mean, he's got some nasty stuff. So, I mean, that rotation could compete with any rotation in a playoff series, so Braves, huge threat, but they slot in at 4 for me.
I've got the Braves coming in at 3. I think those two NL East teams have to go back-to-back. They're so good, both of them. Even if the Braves don't end up winning the NL East, I still think that they're the bigger threat. You mentioned the offense and the pitching. I think it is just a more cohesive unit than what the Mets have. The Mets have that fantastic 1-2 punch with DeGrom and Scherzer. But the Braves also have a very good 1-5 starting rotation. I think they've got a good bullpen as well. They've blown some leads, which I'm a little bit wary of, but I think top to bottom their bullpen is still pretty good. And then that offense is just loaded. It could be, if not the second best offense in all of baseball, and especially of all the playoff teams. They're probably the offense that I would be most or second most confident in. So I've got the Braves at 3.
And I've got the Mets at 3. I mean, you mentioned that 1-2 punch. Talked about how the Yankees are kind of concerned to go down 0-2 in a series, and I think in any series the Mets should be favored to go up 2-0 in a series. I mean, that 1-2 punch, I mean, you got two top tier aces in DeGrom and Scherzer. I don't know who's going to be the game one starter for them. It'll be interesting. But, I mean, we've seen what Scherzer can do in the playoffs. We've seen what DeGrom can do in general. Just went seven innings, 1 run, 3 hits against the Dodgers just yesterday. And then, I mean, the Mets, the offense has shown flashes. Lindor's playing well. McNeil is on a tear right now. He was our second baseman on our team of the month. Obviously, Pete Alonso's a threat to go deep anytime he steps up there. Canna's doing great, top 5 in the National League in on-base percentage. Starling Marte's hitting strides. So I think the Mets are a huge threat. We mentioned 1-2 punch. I think it's, if they get that bye and they're going to face either the Cardinals or the last wild card team, whoever that, Phillies or Padres, whoever that turns out to be, I think they're going to win that division series. Like I said, they go up 2-0. You just need one more, just not blow a 2-0 lead in a 5-game series. And then you get them rested for a 7-game series where you get them 1-2, and then maybe a second turnaround for like 6-7 or 5-6, whatever it turns out to be. That's just dangerous for any series. So I've got the Mets at 3.
Yeah, I can't fault you for that. The top 2 teams, I think, separate themselves the most. At number 2, I'm going with the Houston Astros. I think they're the best team in the American League. I think they've been the most consistent team in the American League so far. You've got Justin Verlander. You have all those great pitchers. Luis Garcia, Framber Valdez has 22 quality starts in a row. He's been amazing. You've got Lance McCullers coming back from injury. Christian Javier. They've got a bunch of guys they can slot in and that are good pitchers. And then the offense. It's all the usual names. Even though they've lost Correa and Springer, they maybe have even gotten better. They've got Bregman and Altuve still. Kyle Tucker in the outfield. Jordan Alvarez has been one of the best hitters in baseball since he came up, and he's been fantastic this year. Jeremy Pena slotted in pretty well at shortstop. I mean, they've got guys all over the place. The Astros, I think, are the best top-to-bottom team in the American League. They're coming in at number 2 for me for World Series contenders.
At 2, I've also got the Astros. I mean, you mentioned it all. I mean, you really covered it there. Just be interesting to see. I mean, they keep representing, I think it was 2017, 2019, and last year. Every other year they've represented the American League in the World Series, and it seems like the other years they've come close. I think they were in the championship series in 2020 against the Rays, and then also against the Red Sox in 2018. So they're up there representing the American League almost every year. Should be interesting to see if they can do something they haven't done since 2017. We know what happened in 2017 is win the World Series. And I mean, I'll go first. We know who the number 1 is. The team they played in 2017, my Dodgers. The only concern for this team right now is their injuries right now. Gonsolin just went into an MRI today. They said the arm is not making the progress they want to, so there's a little cause for concern for Gonsolin. Kershaw just came back through 5 innings, 1 run today. But I mean, you've got the bullpen coming back. Trinan's coming back tomorrow, which will be today when this is posted. And you got Victor Gonzalez, Tommy Kahnle, Danny Duffy, who's some depth, coming back mid-September. So they're getting healthy, and obviously we know the run they're on right now. They were 41-9 in a 50-game stretch. Ridiculous. They're pushing for the best record of all time, those 2001 Mariners. They were the last Mariners team to make the playoffs. Maybe the Mariners can break that. But Dodgers, they've got the October experience, and see if they can win 2 in 3 years.
I've got the Dodgers at 1. I'm not personally going to say anything good about them to explain it. I will say that yesterday, if you guys remember our episode with Ned Colletti from a couple months ago, saw him again yesterday in one of my classes, was talking to him after about the Dodgers. He said this team could be an 120-win team. All I'm going to say, they're the number 1 World Series contender. You get nothing out of me for why they are, how well they're playing. That's all you get.
Yeah, so those are our 5 World Series contenders. I mean, I think if I was a betting man, one of these 5 teams will win. I don't really think there's a 6th team that can, but we saw like the Braves. The Braves weren't really in the conversation last year. They were an 88-win team. I mean, they were obviously in the playoffs. They won the NL East, but so it's any team's game once you get to October. It's really about who gets hot at the right time. But if I had to put some money on it, one of these 5 teams is going to win the World Series.
Yeah, I think I've said this before in an episode. These are the only 5 teams that I think can win the World Series. I'm starting to think maybe the Cardinals might make their way onto this list, but without the pitching, I'm still not completely sure. I think these are the only 5 teams that can compete. The only 5 teams that I I can actually picture holding up the World Series trophy. But this is the way I would rank them too. I think the only thing that I was really questioning was which I'm going to do between Braves and Mets. I went bold, put the Braves over the Mets, but these are the only 5 teams. This is the order I'm putting them in as of right now. Let us know down in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube, or tweet at us if you're listening on Spotify how you would rank your top 5. Is there a team that we didn't have in our top 5 that you would put in yours? I don't know who that would be as of right now, because maybe the Mariners. Maybe the Mariners are the only other team that I could really picture as of right now, or the Padres, but I don't know. I'm still not 100% confident in the Padres, and I don't think the Mariners are better than the Astros or Yankees at this point in the American League.
No, that, like you said, tweet at us, respond in the comments. Who do you think is your pick to win the World Series? But let's get into another fun segment. We've got some questions that we prepared for us. We both have one. Jack, you want to go first? You want me to go first? How do you want to do this?
I'll go first. So mine's not exactly a question, but I'll just introduce it as this: King of the Hill shortstop edition. I'm going to give you 2 shortstops to start it off. You're going to pick who you think is better, and then after that I'm going to roll you out a couple more shortstops, and you just have to say who you would take based on who you had left and who I just represented, and whoever you end up with is your King of the Hill. So I'm going to start it with one that I know is going to be close to the heart for you: Corey Seager or Trey Turner. Who's better?
Trey Turner. He's the better player.
Wow, okay. So now Bo Bichette or Trey Turner?
Trey Turner.
Okay. Xander Bogaerts or Trey Turner?
Trey Turner.
Really? Wow. I think Francisco Lindor or Trey Turner?
Right now, Trey Turner. Long term, I'd probably go Lindor.
I'm not expecting. I did not think you would let Trey Turner get this far. Final one: Carlos Correa or Trey Turner?
No. Trey Turner.
No
I think he's
way.
the best. I think he is the best shortstop in the league. He's not the best defensively. He's a solid defender. He holds his own at the shortstop position. He can show power. And the speed. The speed makes him better than anyone. He can just turn. He's a good hitter, and he can turn little dribblers into base hits as well. And then in the blink of an eye, he's at second or third base by stealing the base and scoring on a base hit. And I just think he's an X factor. I just think the way the other shortstops have played, Trey Turner is the best and most consistent. He's played every single game for the Dodgers this year, hitting like 320. I just don't think any other shortstop can do that.
Well, Xander Bogaerts has done like the hitting 320 part. I think I agreed with you up until Francisco Lindor, and I probably would have taken Correa over Lindor, or it would have been slightly close. I don't think I would have ended up with Trey Turner running the whole thing, but maybe that's my fault for the way that I put him in order. But I don't know. I must have pained you to take him over Corey Seager. I know that for a fact.
It did, and if you asked me at the beginning of the year, I wasn't a huge Trey Turner fan at the beginning of the year. I was like, this guy, he's fast, and that's about it. But watching him for this year, I see the tools he has. So Dodgers need to extend him. That's all I'm going to say. But it hurt me to pick against Corey.
If you had to pick, like right now, not bias aside, which player you would rather have on the Dodgers, same contract, like same Corey Seager or Trey Turner, like who would you prefer? Would you actually prefer Trey over Corey? Allegiance aside to Seager.
Knowing what I know now, yes.
Okay.
And I think going forward, the only concern I have with Trey is if, as he gets older, if he's not as speedy, if he's not going to be as valuable of a player. But Corey Seager, you also don't know his future if he's a long-term shortstop option just because of how big he is. So there's questions for both of them. But right now, I just think Trey Turner is more of a consistent X factor. The only other thing is for the Dodgers, Trey Turner in his career, he hasn't been. It's smallish sample size, but he hasn't been great in the postseason. Where Corey Seager, he could take over like he did in 2020. So that's the only concern I have for Trey versus Corey. But I think I gotta go Trey.
Well, I'll say hats off to you. It took a lot of mental fortitude to put Trey Turner all the way through that list. I don't agree with all the picks, but I think that was good. Eventually, I'll pull this back for you and do other positions. Maybe make you pick a Giant or something like that. But what's your question that you have prepared for me?
Okay, so the Little League World Series just recently ended, and I don't know if you watched any of it, but that Hawaii team that won it all was absolutely ridiculous.
I told my dad after the Western region that Hawaii team's going to win the whole thing. Like, no shot.
Yeah, I mean,
they don't.
I think they outscored teams like 60-5, and they won the championship game against Curacao on a 10-run rule walk-off. So my question to you is, we're playing Little League rules, like Little League field, Little League bats, everything. If you had to take on that Hawaii team completely by yourself, you do get a catcher, so it's not like if they get a runner, it's just free running. So you just get a catcher to throw to, but no one else is behind you. You have to hit in all 9 spots as well. Could you beat that team just by yourself on a Little League field?
So is it a Little League mound distance as well?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm beating them. Absolutely.
But did you see some of those kids, though? They were hitting the ball like 300 plus feet. They had swings that were much better than a 12-year-old. And you got to remember, this is just how they normally play. A lot of these kids play travel ball as well, where you're playing on the 50, 70, the intermediate field as well. And some of them, I mean, I don't know what they're doing in Hawaii. I'm sure some of them have experience on the bigger field as well. So I think these kids are a lot better than normal 12-year-olds that you're giving credit for.
But I'm not saying it just because they're 12 years old, but they're also, like, the tallest ones were like 5'10". And if I'm pitching from the closer distance, I have a catcher, I can try and strike all of them out. And if I walk someone, that's fine. But with no defense behind me, I can completely avoid contact. And it's okay if I give up like 5 runs a game. I think hitting off of younger kids on a tiny field right now, I think I could put some balls in. I think I could put some balls in out like over the fence. I think I could beat the Hawaii team.
But you know how they do those comparisons. The kids, like, oh, they're only throwing 70. Well, the 70 is like MLB 90 plus. So like, are you confident that you could go out and hit 90 plus over a fence right now?
You could. I mean, like, I know they say that, but when you're actually in the box, like, I don't think it feels like you're facing a 90-mile-an-hour.
It does.
Fit. But like, and you also look at the way that some of them pitch. Like, some of them throw that hard, but also like, But it's one game. You're getting their ace. Okay, fine. I still think I could do it, and I also think that like with the strike zone, that would benefit me specifically because the Little League strike zone is the entire size of my room. That I could just throw as hard as I possibly could, try and get it anywhere close, which is harder when you're throwing from 60 feet 6 inches with like high school umpires or college umpires. But I think if I just got it anywhere close, I'd get a strike call. I think I could do it. It would be close, and it like if it was any Little League team, I'd be more confident. This Hawaii team was so good, but I still think I could do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a close, high-scoring game. I do think I could hit off them, but I mean, I think you just get like a dribbler through the 6-hole or something, and you're looking at a double or a triple, like right off the, like any contact that gets past the pitcher is a hit. Like you're not going to be able to run it over and beat them at first, and you can't throw it to anyone at first. So anything that gets past you, if they are making contact, like you're just completely banking on striking all of them out. So like any contact is extra bases, it seems like, and it's the short bases as well. I mean, you just fly on those. So I think it'll be a close, high-scoring game.
Bold of you to assume that I could make a play going back on the ball and like let it go past me, but then run and faster than the ball, pick it up, spin, and run to first before they get there. Because I was gonna say throw to first, but I don't have a first baseman. I mean, you guys can roast me in the comments all you want. I'm sure this is gonna go on TikTok. Maybe I wouldn't do it, but I think I'm gonna have a little confidence. They are 12 years old. They are kind of small. I don't know. I think I could do it.
What if we up the stakes? Okay. Say like if you win, you'll get $1 million. Mm-hmm. 100 million.
100 million.
If you lose, you have to go to prison for 5 years. Are you going to do it? Like now the question isn't can you win? Would you do it? Would you take the chance? Like how confident that you would win?
I don't know. Yeah. What if I shaved it to like if I win, I get like 10 million, and if I lose, I only go to prison for 1 year?
How about if you win, you get $1 million for each run you won by, and if you lose, you go to prison for how many years, like runs you lost by?
I don't know. Maybe I'm not that confident. I'm confident here just like saying it, but I don't know if I'd actually be all that confident because they're also like they're smart kids. They'll realize like all we have to do is put it in play.
All you got to do is bunt. And you got to base it.
Are we playing peg?
No, we're not.
Well, if they want to get their squared around a bunt and they're facing the heat. I don't throw all that hard, but I think I'd be throwing harder from that close. I'm I'm thinking I could do it. I'm not really worried about hitting. It would be more the pitching side, but I think I can match him pretty well.
All right, well there you have it. Jack versus Hawaii team.
I'm gonna spin
win?
around to your question. You don't think you could do it?
I think it would be close. I'm not like confident one way or another. I mean, I don't know.
Well, if you guys like these fun segments, let us know. And these are more fun to make. I mean, we talk about baseball so much all the time, talk about what's going on right now, but it's fun to just make up random hypotheticals, do stuff like that. If you have suggestions for ones next week, you guys can reach out to us or leave it in the comments. Let us know what you thought of our August awards, who you might have given some of the biggest awards to, pitchers, players, rookies, all that kind of stuff. We mentioned pretty much every social channel, every episode, but you guys know what they are. They're down in the description. Check out Ryan's article. It was really well written. He also has another one from last week about the Orioles and why their success this season could be sustained for future seasons. That was a really good read as well. But anyways, we've been Double Play Baseball. We'll see you guys next week to kind of start a new month of segmented episodes. We've got some fun ideas. But anyways, we've been the Double Play Podcast. We'll see you guys next time.